You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop.
Good evening and welcome into the Sporting Time Show. Doug Thompson alongside me, Taryn Johnson. Happy Saturday night to everybody. Taryn, we went from 12 degrees, felt like -6 a couple weeks ago, to beautiful 60-degree weather.
You gotta love this South Central Kentucky weather, Doug. And this is the only region. This is the only region in the country where it can be. You're right, 12 degrees one week, and then 7 days later, it can be absolutely perfect.
Yes, and you needed to have a boat to get to work earlier in the week, right?
No lie. Oh my goodness.
It was amazing, scary to see some of the photos that I saw over on Fairview. I mean, it looked like a lake over there.
Yeah, Doug. You know, I was driving up to cover Western Kentucky's home game this past Sunday, 6 days ago. They played at 2 p.m. at Diddle Arena. And I was driving up I-65 north. My goodness, like half the lanes it felt like were underwater. It was the most treacherous drive I think that I have ever driven. And that includes driving in the snow just like 10 days earlier. It's absolutely unbelievable.
We call that the white knuckle trip, right? I mean,
right.
you just, it's crazy. But luckily, we had no games that were canceled.
Yep.
It's already a strange enough season, but when you add Mother Nature in there and you have to, maybe cancel other games, we don't really need that. But it has been crazy, and for the past 4 days earlier this week, I participated in the Mid-South Conference Basketball Championships, which I absolutely love. They hold it at Stuttle Financial Arena, and you say, where is that? Well, that is at Bowling Green High School. The Mid-South Conference basically does a takeover, a rebranding of Bowling Green High School.
Wow.
So that when the college students arrive, they see big photos of them or their team. They see banners hanging in the gym. Everybody just speaks so highly when they get there.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it
amazing.
is, right? The college kids, they don't care. I mean, they come in there. It's a beautiful arena, and so we had 4 days of that. But the amazing thing about it for our fans out there that are used to 4th Region girls basketball, we had in the finals of the Mid-South Conference, we had the #1 team in the nation taking on the #3 team in the nation, which is Campbellsville University. So in the Mid-South Conference, you have two of the top teams in the country. But listen to this. In Campbellsville, you had 4 players from the 4th Region girls playing on Campbellsville's team, and all 4 were on the court at the same time. So you had Bailey Pedigo from Barron County High School, you had Ashley McGeorge from Monroe County, Savannah Gregory from ACS, and then you had Sarah Sutton from Allen County Scottsville, which was amazing to watch them all play together on this 3rd-ranked national team.
That's flat out remarkable, Doug. Like, you could not write a Hollywood script better than that. I mean, that's flat out fantastic, and what a treat to be able to come back to your hometown area and play in such a high-profile tournament. That's flat out remarkable, man. That's really cool.
It was really cool, and obviously, you can only let so many people in because of the CDC guidelines. Yeah. But another fun part of this was Lindsey Wilson had 3 girls that basically start. There are several more that are on the team from the 4th Region, but Reagan Turner, who we had on the show, Monroe County, Bree Glover from Glasgow High School, and Rosemary Jackson from Greenwood High School were on the court playing against Campbellsville in a quarterfinal match. So you had 7 out of the 10. I was just like, this is absolutely fantastic.
That's what we call representing right there.
Exactly, exactly. So what a great tournament. Now I can turn my attention back to the high school, but I do have to do a shout out to Bowling Green High School, to Gary Fields, DG Sherrill, absolutely fantastic work with. But also, I got to give a shout out to the custodians, man. They were fantastic. Every time I turned around, do you need anything? Is everything okay? They were fantastic. They're behind the scenes, right? But they also make it happen, make a tournament really fantastic. So thank you to Bowling Green High School for making it happen.
It takes everybody. In an operation of that size, Doug, it takes absolutely everybody, all hands on deck. Shout out to everybody who was a part of that. It sounds like it was absolutely amazing.
It was so much fun. So, look forward to next season as we come back to play, I think, a third year at Bowling Green High School at Stuttle Financial Arena. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to circle back around to 4th Region basketball as we prepare for the 15th District. We will be right back. More of the Sporting Times right here on WNKY NBC 40. Welcome back. We are just about 10 days away from tipping it off for the 14th District, 15th District, all the district tournaments that we cover, right? And, the top 2 teams out of each district will move on to the 4th Region. You and I have talked about this every single week, Taryn. On the girls' side, it is, there are so many, there are probably 4 or 5 teams that can advance, to the 4th Region, which they will. There'll be 8 teams, but that could actually win this thing in the 4th Region.
Yeah, and on the top of that list is Barron County, Doug. You take a look at the Lady Trojanettes this season. They've had a fantastic season, 12-2 in Region 4 play, and they've really from that first game of the season when they played Bowling Green, they kind of set the tone for what has been a remarkable run thus far, and they've set themselves at the top of the Region 4 standings. And Doug, we see this team play. They've lost 2 of their last 4, so we got to see them finish strong in the regular season. But going into postseason play, there's no reason to think that they shouldn't be at the top of the Region 4 standings because they have proved it game in and game out so far this regular season. Yeah,
and what's interesting is that when you look at the top programs, they have all had losses to teams in the 14th District or into the 4th Region that you might have thought, well, they should have won that game. But that really speaks to the talent of the 4th Region girls teams. You look at Greenwood. Greenwood has a very solid team, and they can light it up. You look at a team like Bowling Green, for instance, they have a couple of players that are coming back that are starters that haven't played because of injury all season long. So it'll be interesting to see how they get their basketball legs back, how tough Bowling Green will be after they get a couple of starters back on their team. Yeah, Doug, I am so interested to see how Bowling Green is able to play. The reinforcements are coming for the Lady Purples, and they're almost here. They'll be here for postseason play. I'm very interested to see how that changes the dynamic of the team heading into the end of this regular season, the final stretch run, and into district, and then eventually region play if they're able to make it to the region tournament, which you have to think they will. But going back to that point real quick that you just made, even Barron County, you look at this team, just a couple weeks ago they lost to Franklin Simpson, who is 8th in the Region 4 standings. That's 8th. That's 8 teams that are capable of winning on any given night. So that speaks to the testament of how deep this region is, Doug. Yeah, you actually stole the words right out of my mouth. Franklin Simpson, another team. I really like the way Warren Central, the Lady Dragons, are playing. They have a lot of talent. They put everything together. They could be a team that, could be tough to deal with. But again, you only get 2 teams out of the 14th district. So South Warren is trending up. They're doing better. You've got Greenwood, Bowling Green, and then Warren Central. Warren East also has a lot of talent on their team, but there's only 2 teams. So some good teams are going to be left out. You look at the boys now for a minute. Bowling Green really had separated themselves from all others, but you look at Greenwood, you look at Allen County Scottsville, they've been playing very good. Warren Central, always a tournament kind of team. I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch, but certainly I don't think anybody would disagree that Bowling Green is the team that you're going to have to figure out a way to beat. Yeah, Doug, and I don't know. With all due respect to other teams here in our area, I don't know that any team is going to be able to solve that puzzle of beating Bowling Green, Doug. We've seen the Purples drop a couple games here down the stretch, but man, they are so deep, Doug. This Bowling Green team is so deep. They're so talented, and they can put up 80 points in a night, and they can hold you to 40. They're so lethal offensively and defensively. Man, it's hard to see a team
beating Bowling Green, knocking them off in postseason play, but that's why you play the game. That's why you play the game. The games are not played on paper.
No.
That's why you play them on the hard court, and any given night, one of these teams can get hot and knock off the Purples.
Absolutely. Well, look at Ballard defeated them. They're the number one team in the 7th region. Elizabethtown defeated them. They're the number one team in the 5th region. But Bowling Green is just as good as both of those teams. But you're right. Another team I really, really like is Franklin Simpson.
Yes, sir.
Quietly going about their business, but they're beating some really good teams. And then Clinton County. What about the Bulldogs? I mean, they're in the semifinals. Tonight, they're playing probably as the show is going on. They're in the semifinals of the All-A Classic. They could be in the finals. A gritty team, just like their coach. He's gritty, which is a compliment, but we got a bunch of great teams. So
sure.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we are going to talk about the players of the week. We cannot wait. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Sporting Times, WNKY 40. Welcome back. Every week, Taryn and I look forward to who is going to be crowned the player of the week. And Taryn, this week, we're going to start off with the girls. What is it about this week's list that jumps out to you?
So, Doug, no spoilers here, but we have 3 honorable mentions and then, of course, our player of the week, as we do every week. This week, we have 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores making up the list of 4. We have talked about it week in and week out, it seems, but the underclassmen here in our area are flat out phenomenal. They are playing some exceptional basketball, and this week, I think, is as prime of an example of that as we have seen all season long.
Yeah, I mean, we scour the stats, and we look at every single team in the 4th region. Occasionally, we may overlook someone. If we do,
it happens.
Let Taryn know. But it's amazing. I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to kick it off with Clinton County's freshman Landry Moons, who you and I have talked about before. She scored 20 points in a game. She only averages 11 points per game. This is against Allen County Scottsville. They win their 3rd straight game after coming off of a 5-game hiatus because of COVID.
Yeah, that's a huge performance by Landry Moons there, Doug. And not only from a point perspective, but you take a look at the gravity of the game, how important it is.
Yeah.
Getting a win over Allen County Scottsville in a game that they really needed to win to continue the positive momentum they have going is flat out phenomenal. Congratulations to Landry Moons. Our next honorable mention, Metcalf County freshman Cassidy London. 23 points versus Campbellsville in an OT game, 7 of 9 from the field, 8 of 11 from the free throw stripe. And she's averaging just under 14 points per game, but we see her go off for 23 in a pivotal overtime matchup against Campbellsville. Again, Doug, this is one of those games where, big-time players make big-time plays, and Cassidy London certainly did that for Metcalf County.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that we're talking about freshmen and sophomores, right? They're on a huge stage. They're playing against upperclassmen, and it doesn't seem to faze them. And I think one of the reasons why is because, the student athlete today is playing club. They're playing AAU year-round, right?
Very true.
So a freshman today is probably not like a freshman of, 10 years ago maybe, right? Yeah. Or 15 years ago. But so impressive. Our next honorable mention we have talked about almost every single week. She is a sophomore, but she plays like a junior or a senior. And actually, at this time of year, they're already beyond their class, right? But you gotta congratulate Meadow Tisdale for a 20-point performance. She was 9 for 10 from the field. She had 11 rebounds, another double-double. That was against Wayne County. This young lady can change the outcome of a game. She is physical. She has a great shot. Obviously, 9 for 10 from the field. very impressive.
Yeah, Miss Tisdale is a recurring guest on this
That's
fine
right.
program, Doug, because we see her every week, it seems like.
So
I love the efficiency by Meadow, though. 9 of 10 from the field, shooting 90% from the field in a game that they must have. Bowling Green, as a sophomore, too, is flat out. That's fantastic. That's a great performance. But without further ado, our player of the week, Warren Central sophomore guard Sanaya Shelton, goes off for 27 points versus Hopkinsville. 9 of 12 from the charity stripe. She's averaging almost 18 points per game, but she goes off for 27 versus Hopkinsville. Congratulations to Miss Shelton and a fantastic performance, Doug.
Yeah, and I got to watch Warren Central play via ST live stream on a Roku device, by the way. That's a plug. But I'm watching Warren Central Lady Dragons play, and they are a good team. I mean, they are very athletic, very good, and this is a team I can't wait to watch in the postseason to see how they perform, because honestly, all these teams have another gear, and they got to get to it quickly when they're playing in postseason.
Yeah, Doug, you mentioned Warren Central earlier in the program, I believe in our second segment, but Warren Central's a team that's 5-3 in Region 4 play.
Yeah.
But they're playing great basketball. They seem to be developing this team chemistry that is pivotal, especially once you get to postseason play.
Yeah, you got to have it, and it's going to be exciting, like I said. But in the meantime, we will watch them for the last 10 days. But when we come back, you and I get to talk about the player of the week on the boys' side. Stay tuned. More of the Sporting Times. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back. It is time for us to reveal the player of the week for the boys. And I'm telling you, Taryn, it is getting tougher and tougher. We could do a show on just all the honorable mention players, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to
feels that way. Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm going to kick it off with Greenwood Junior Will Gaddis. And what happened was, of course, with a lot of cancellations, coaches are trying to get pickup games and just last-second games. So they got a game with Kentucky Trailblazers, say that 3 times, and that is a home school team. So, but they're very, very good. But Will had an opportunity to play. The starters, the typical 5, did not play in that game. But Will had 14 points. He averages 3.8. Now, he's played in 20 games this season for the Gators. But congratulations to Will. Obviously, when he gets an opportunity to get out there and shoot, he takes a shot.
Yeah, that's a great exhibition match there, Doug, against the Kentucky Trailblazers.
I love that name, too.
Yeah, man, they sound pretty lethal, if I must say so myself. Our next honorable mention, Metcalf County senior Boston DeVore, 22 points versus Campbellsville, 7 of 9 from the field, 8 of 11 from the free throw line. He's averaging a shade under 14 points per game this season, but has 22 against Campbellsville. And this is a Metcalf County team, Doug, 13-7 overall. They're 6-6 in Region 4 play. Impressive season for them and an impressive performance for Mr. Boston DeVore.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit off air, and he lives on the foul line.
Yeah, he does.
And so, just FYI, don't foul him because he's really good at taking those shots. Our next honorable mention, and we have talked about this young man, again, many, many times. He is Barron County Junior Tay Poynter. He had 23 points, 8 for 8 from the free throw line. I know you love that stat.
I do, man. I do.
This was against Elizabethtown, who was 14-1. He put up 23 points against the #1 team in the 5th region. What does that tell you about his talent?
Man, that tells you that he can play with the best of them, Doug.
Right.
And Elizabethtown, I believe, was a team that beat Bowling Green.
They did.
Pretty handily.
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago. So congratulations to Tay Poynter. That's a big-time performance right there. Our last honorable mention, Bowling Green senior Isaiah Mason, 24 points, 8 of 10 from the field versus Ballard. Isaiah Mason, just like Meadow Tisdale, is another recurring guest that we have week in and week out, it seems like, Doug. A couple of Bowling Green products, but Isaiah Mason, 24 points, 80% from the field in that game is very impressive. and very well deserving of an honorable mention status.
He is an amazing basketball player, right? He's got the skill set, he's got the basketball IQ. Just watching him, the way that he can get to the basket, Taryn, I mean, this young man can play the game, and obviously every week we're talking about him. Of course, we don't talk about his average because it's always high, right? Yeah. So very, very impressive. But this week's player of the game is Clinton County junior guard Blake Melton. Now, he had 21 points against Murray in an All-A Classic quarterfinals that went into overtime. Now, Blake averages just 8.2 points per game. He got 21 points in an OT game. They win it. Clinton County now vies, well, they vie for a championship, but they're in the semifinals against Emmanuel Christian. But it's this kind of performance that got them over the hump and to Eastern Kentucky University for the All-A Final Four.
Yeah, that's pretty strong right there. My man Blake was melting their faces off in that performance there, Doug.
Nice.
21 points when he's averaging just over 8 a game. That's really strong, and that's the type of performance, that a team like Clinton County needs in order to advance in the All-A tournament. Congratulations to Blake Melton, our player of the week, and very well deserved. That's a big-time performance there when the stakes are incredibly high for Clinton County.
Oh yeah, I mean, and they came from behind in the fourth quarter to tie that thing up, and then they kind of run away with it in the final overtime minute. But anyway, do want to mention again that we will be covering exclusively the 14th District Basketball Tournament, boys and girls. It will be a pay-per-view event because it is a fundraiser for all the schools in Warren County. So please support the district tournament. And it's going to be $6 to watch 2 games. So it's very reasonable, but we're very much looking forward as the Sporting Times live stream. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, $6 for 2 games, Doug, is a great deal.
Yes.
That's a lot of bang for your buck right there.
It really is. So we've certainly enjoyed today's show. Taryn, it's great seeing you again.
Absolutely.
You
Likewise.
can join us next week, same time, same place, 6 p.m. Saturday night. For Doug Thompson and Taryn Johnson, have a fantastic week.